Yeah, exactly. Right.
The last few phone has been served. Yes, I'm trying to study it. Good evening, everyone. The time is now 5:22, Thursday, October 24th. You can call this meeting to order.
Start for a reading of the Open Public Meetings Act as required by NJSA 10.426, known as the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting was provided in the following manner on December 6, 2023. Notice of this meeting specifying the date, time, and location was transmitted to the Star Ledger, LLC, Americana. We have a prayer.
Yes, Moses in prayer. Yes, sir.
God, we thank you tonight for gathering us together for this meeting. We ask that you allow us to do your business. We ask that you touch each and every person that is here. The work may be accomplished in all the names that are represented in Jesus' name. We pray, amen. United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Carter.
Present.
Commissioner Council. Present. Commissioner Washington.
Present.
Commissioner Hawk. Chairman Logan.
Right.
Reading of the Public Participation Act in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10.431, the Newark Housing Authority opens every public meeting for comments of the public. Each person choosing to speak at the meeting will be limited to 5 minutes to speak on any subject on or off the agenda. Also, must state their name and address for the record. However, in accordance with NJSA 10.412, nothing in that act shall be due to limit the discretion of a public body to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation at any meeting. Therefore, please be advised that the Newark Housing Authority will not entertain any comments from persons who communicate obscene material, make statements which are considered bias, intimidation, in which a person intends to intimidate any individual because of race, color, religion, gender, handicap, sexual orientation, or ethnicity, or makes comments intending to harass or speak in any offensive language. The person who makes these statements will relinquish their allotted 5 minutes for public discussion. Any person who persists in speaking out of turn or interrupts the peace and order of the meeting will be escorted off the premises. Our first speaker this evening is Ms. Felicia Austin.
Good evening, Commissioners. I just handed Mr. Spicer, and I don't know if y'all trying to set me up. Individuals, I guess, I thought, you know, sorry, I stopped enough stuff, and I said, he might try to say that federal mail fraud, you know, opening up somebody's mail. So I'm sorry for bringing it back, but I also left some of my comments for the annual plan. After the last meeting, when I spoke my true feelings on employees, I received an outcry from employees through Facebook, and I gave out my phone number. And the things I heard was unbelievable. And I'm not saying I believe everyone, but I'm just going to say, be careful to this executive staff, and I'm talking about Ms. Murphy and Mr. Spicer. Be careful who you trust, be careful who you listen to, be careful of your actions and what you say to people. They're trying to set you up. They're trying to set you up. They're trying to have something that they can look back to the other side. If you don't know what the other side is, please review the other videos and see what it is. The hiring practice of the housing authority, I received calls on that. People are submitting applications to the housing authority. They're not, I mean, several applications for different things. And they're saying to me, oh, did they get my application? I don't know about the housing authority. Housing authority needs to set up something to get the hiring process and to make sure that they have a list, the executive staff, they have a list, not the department, but the head. But anyway, you know, Mrs. Spicer is that we need to get a list of who is submitting applications into HR. All the systems are coming up on the season of August. We need to get our August system checked. Senior buildings, family sites, because we all know that one of the board guys been terminated. So we need to make sure that these people know what we're doing. Remember, we're praying with the carbon monoxide. We don't want no more episodes. We got too much on our hands right now. Resident services, I'm just going to say anonymously, our resident service coordinator needs a car too. How about that? He needs a car. He serviced the rest. If you give out cars, he needs a car. Rad meeting was last night. Council meeting was last night. I believe in Mr. Spicer, so I'm gonna head on down to 920 Broad Street and handle my business down there. I'm taking an official request. Rad meetings used to be, and I forgot about it, 4 o'clock. We can pay down to the council meeting. That's the conflict of interest. I'm an advocate. I advocate on public housing. That means that I'm an advocate in the city and its level. The feds deemed the housing authority almost a year ago as a trouble agency. Can we have an update on what's going on with our trouble agency? Or are we out of trouble agency status? Or what's going on? I think it's too many of the same faces that we're trying to change something around. And like I said before, I'm going to say it again, fire them. Fire them. They're no good. They're reporting back to people out. What's going on? They're setting y'all up. Setting you up. Taking information, holding on to it, so they can say something else happened. I was in a meeting today, well, not yesterday, last week, and I heard this. Then I received a phone call, veterans housing, something we have to check. All I'm gonna say is that when we start doing stuff, let's review what the housing authority is. Is the veterans housing? I'm supportive of it. What veterans housing do we have that we produced in the last 10 years? If we have somebody who wants to do that and Newark says, this is where I just can't stand your municipal, sorry, the The municipal council won't step in to say, let's build something that the housing authority has in their annual plan. It says, use the veteran house. If something not done right, let's get to the table and sit down and talk. You know, y'all never asked, no one never asked what we thought about giving out vouchers and who be the participant for that. We have that right. If it wasn't for us, then we would have the job. You can take what we say seriously, take it to the table, evaluate. If you want some information, ask us for more. I'm glad to talk to you. Anytime. Anytime.
Good. Next meeting.
Thank you.
Kim Barnes.
Good evening.
Today,
I would have a whole different things set mine tonight, but middle on yet today, which I actually see today, and it was sent out through line services that RAD properties are no longer entitled to receive public tenant participation effective immediately. This should have been sent out with us as RAD properties to ease us into the change we call change and ease your organization into the change so that your employee staff or board members can be able to accept the change. This is done rapidly. I mean, for me, I don't mind doing anything for my residents, but how do we continue to do any type of activities for our residents? Because I'm not pulling out my pocket like I normally do. Because I did that and I got told just, I mean, you know, the residents were like, well, you don't do nothing. Half of the stuff that I do, and I had my board, we came to that, my board, we used to come out of our pocket because the God doesn't give us enough money to do activities for our residents as it is. Okay, but to snatch all of this away, so what am I supposed to do for these kids, these seniors coming up? It should have been set down and talked about. It really should have. And in your annual plan, it states resident participation. Residents of covered projects converting assistance to PBB, which is what we are, will have the right to establish and operate a resident organization for the purpose of addressing issues related to their living environment and be eligible for resident participation. We also could go and look at I'll give that to you guys. And this is part of the guideline, which is H 209 219 -09 219.
2019-23
That's section 1. That talks about RAD participation forms. I don't have much to say tonight, but one thing that I do have to say, I want my manager back. I want my manager back. We don't have it, staff, we do the training. But my thing is, a lot of residents come to me. I do deal with residents on that basis, but some things are for manager and residents level, not my level. I want her back. I want her back. Miss Bird. I mean, just like today, a resident came to me and wanted to talk about an issue that needed her attention. I mean, I do talk to Miss Bird on the phone, but 9 times out of 10, she basically here from 9 to 5. So who wants to come back to Riverside after 5 o'clock? I do. And that's basically what I have to say, and we need to address it. And, Ms. Marley, thank you for attending my monthly meeting this month. And
Annabelle,
No answer?
Murder Brown,
Good evening, everybody. First, I want to say about the meeting last night, for the comments. Very interesting. Good communication we had. Thanks, Spike, for food for the first time. Basically, what I'm here now, I have the questions from last month. And one of my questions was the section 8 ran under this one umbrella. I guess you didn't understand what I was saying. What I meant, this agency has programs, and this agency runs under whatever programs they have. So we're under your program, under this agency. I use the umbrella as an example to explain about agency having different programs that spread it forward into agency. That it has one umbrella. And for our section 8 in red, we all section 8 voucher, and we as one. That's what I was also talking about within that questionnaire. I didn't get a chance to look at any of your comments from last month, so I'll probably come back. Right now, I wanted to know, why did the HR director talk to y'all with this conference? It might mean, if your HR director is HR, these conferences that y'all going to doesn't retain to things that HR needs to be there. Who's paying? I'm gonna ask for over requests. Who's paying for their own expenses to those conferences? And I know who's supposed to be accountable for their own expenses and who the agency is paying. So it's not a part thing, it's not a luxury thing. If you want to go to Texas, wherever y'all go, Southwest City is one coming up, y'all will be going. If they want to go, let them go on their own. They should be taking time off for work. They go. Not on our time. Not on our pay. The other one is, how many employees let go in the central maintenance department from 500 First Street, despite the 11 employees go? My other question is, how many employees has this agency let go? And what departments are they? Another question I have is, how many have hired? And what departments did you let? You've been here, it's been 20 years. I don't have too many because I put too much of my stuff together. It's late, but those are my questions, and hopefully that we can get along and get stuff done. Section 8, you have a new director. Just like Mr. Spicer last month announced at the Board of Commissioners meeting, but I knew he was there at your work. It was a mistake. It is great. So, you know, I don't know who he is, and hopefully those people that's in Section 8, the new director, will set up something with the RAG and Section 8 people so we can get a better understanding of bridges we have, so it don't be a problem. We can set up something to help the residents that's on about their holders. The HCV ones and the project things, and those that has doctors and other problems, that's not yours. To get a better understanding of how this program and how the authority has Section 8 is ran better and be able to communicate better with the agency and those departments.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Muhammad Dodi, pronounce it correctly.
Good evening, everybody.
Good
My name is Dodi Mahana. 575 Highland Avenue. I'm here because I have two questions. The first part is why? Why are we as tenants, people that are receiving Section 8, allowed to live in Rome? I am a tenant for 3 years. Both my landlords are people from New York, Hasidic Jews,
They don't want to pick. They don't care what you live in, as long as they get their rent. Majority of the rent is paid by Section 8. I am going through living hell. The first landlord, because I was forced out of the apartment. The first landlord, I'm taking him to court because he owes me thousands of dollars from illegal money that he took from me. Section 8 told him, have me pay one rent, he jacked it up $45 extra every month. I didn't discover it until almost 2 years later. Then I was told by Section 8, don't pay no more. I brought it to his attention to tell him, how are you going to pay me back the money that you took from me illegally? What did he do? A month later, he applied for me to go to court and trying to evict me. So I was forced out of my apartment in February 2024. I moved down the street. I begged the girl, please do not give me another Hasidic Jew. What do I get? Another Hasidic Jew. He tells me he was Spanish. Oh, the landlord's Spanish. I'm living in an apartment, and Section 8 knows about it. I'm on the first floor. The basement is, I call black mold. The whole entire basement is black mold. The smells are in my house, the fumes. I can't breathe sometimes. They tell me move. Where am I going to get this money to move? My second question is, why isn't there some type of penalty against these slum landlords? You don't pay them rent for a month or two. They fix what's supposed to be fixed. When they brought it to my landlord's attention about the basement, he sent 2 Hispanic men that didn't speak a word of English with a house bucket, a gallon of bleach, and a mop. Called himself cleaning the basement. I got pictures. Thank God I took pictures of everything that I'm complaining about. It's horrendous that you people, you send people from CPI, half of them don't even do the job correctly. They walk in and they walk out, and they say, okay, it's done. This is ridiculous, that you're allowing us to live in these conditions. And I can't do it. I can't do it. There's no emergency money to move. I got money tied up that I can't get my hands on, which is my security deposit for the overpayment. And it's just appalling that people from New York come here, buy up our property, half, excuse my language, half gas fix it up, and rent it out to us, and we're supposed to be okay. I'm not. That's my second question. Why isn't there some type of penalty? Why can't they be cut from the program? Hit them in their pocket where it hurts. Instead of guaranteeing them their money every month, take it away from them and cut them from the program. If you don't cut them, then they ain't learning anything. It's like a child on their hand. The kid keeps putting their hand in the fire. The kid's going to get burned. They're going to learn. These Hasidic landlords, or anybody that's from landlord, cut them from the program. There's so many nice, decent people out here that care about their property. Would love to be on Section 8, have a guaranteed rent income. Instead of worrying about if the tenant going to move, is the tenant going to lose the job. This is a guaranteed rent.
Thank you, Ms. Dory. Next speaker.
McGilroy or
No answer.
V.S. Walker.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Venus Walker. I reside in Newark. So when I first ever came here 7 months ago, I let it be known that I'm an honored scholar. I'm also a very busy woman and participate in her community to build up the things I'm trying to build up. So I'm very busy. I know that the majority of people think that everyone who lives in what they consider a project just sits there and do nothing. But as I stated to maintenance and NHA management and every other, like I speak to like 30 people, that's not the case. So I made it clear, which it says in NHA papers, that if you are busy, you can set up appointments and then we can meet with each other. And when I have time and when the NHA has time, we can meet and we can conduct improper business. That's what I do. I abide by everything NHA says. What I'm having a problem with is no one else is doing that. So that goes back to recently. I called in for maintenance because now, I guess since I've been coming, things are, I guess, pretending to change because that's what it feels like. I don't see any real change, at the end. But so I called maintenance because now there's a line you must call for you guys report things. That's good. So everything I say should be reported. I put in about 6 maintenance papers of my apartment that needs to be done. Winter is coming. None of my windows work. And according to you guys, not only do not like windows locked, they have to work properly. So I explained that once again, these windows and these appliances that I have, according to the state, are supposed to be updated. Pennington hasn't been updated since 1940. The windows, the maintenance, nothing. So I told maintenance, and I told I guess her name is Victoria, I'm not quite sure what her name is, I guess it starts with B. I made it clear to her, I said, just like I told the private management, I'm not in my house, in my apartment consistently. So you had to work with me as I work with you, and when I'm here. So that's what I did. She calls herself being malicious, I guess, and waited. Not only did she not call, which I have from reporter, she waited until 12 something when I was out of town doing business to have someone come to my door and call me and leave multiple messages, which I didn't respond to. Okay, so my issue with her is, you just now come into the office, you don't introduce yourself, you don't say I'm in management or anything, you just say what you want to me, call me at any time, and having whom else call my phone, which I don't appreciate. Then we have security. Every time I'm about to come to see you guys, 2 days, 3 days before, someone wants to give me a call abruptly, like, oh, we're solving things or what's going on. We're not going to play games with me. I'm not the one to play games with, and I made it clear to the security man, and I made it clear to management on multiple occasions. I'm going to state it again. When I'm going to come here, don't call me 3 days before asking me. I sent you guys over 12 papers that I read myself, notarized myself, right? So my whole thing is, when I sent those papers, I told you respectfully, reading is fundamental. You're calling me asking me about things because I'm coming here. You know what Pennington needs. You know what Pennington needs. You know what I require. You know what I ask for to get those papers. I made it clear from the co-pilots that's on the floor to the drug dealers that's standing there and selling you. If I was to ever step on the co-pilot or come into a gun shooting, it will be very, 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 very bad for me. Because I made it clear what's going on and why I feel like it. I don't like staying there because when I leave my campus, it's not habitable to stay. It's just not. I can't focus there. There's no focus for me to be. There's nowhere to focus. Listen, I'm gonna say this. At this point, I keep saying I feel like there's a lot of games going on. I feel like that everyone is sitting there and picking and choosing what they want to help with and what they don't want to help with. So I'm gonna continue to help myself. I'm gonna continue to stand up for myself because what's going on here, it seems more of a show. More to me, it seems like more a show or service. And I'm not impressed. Every time it's time for voting, because I'm also a co-worker, so I do that too. And you guys know the time it's election time. Please vote. I'm very busy. So for me, when it's time to vote, we want to come and put up flyers in the hallway and pin it in the sand. We're having what you're putting up is not benefiting the report. The cotton candy, the extra candy, half the people respectfully don't even like that shit. Okay, so if we're going to do things that benefit Pennington Court, let's really do things that's going to benefit, not things that we just can throw a cotton candy machine when it's time to fresh and do it. I've seen it too many times for years. I am not one for it. So I'm going to continue to stand up for myself. I'm going to continue to talk with the mayor and do what I do. But that's all I have to say.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Good evening. We heard a lot of mine, my, our, you people, what are you doing for me? Why aren't you looking for me? And I go back to a statement that I made a couple of meetings prior, that there are individuals, there are residents of the city of Newark that we work on behalf, but we don't work for them. And I'm trying to think of a way to say that differently, so maybe it'll resonate with more people than it did the first time. So I try to give examples of things to illustrate and hoping that will land, right? The superintendent of the school district does not work for one family. He does not work for one individual. He works for the school board on behalf of all the teachers, staff, and students that are in the school district. Similar to the mayor works on behalf of everyone in the city of Newark, not one particular person, but everyone as a whole. So it is not our responsibility to introduce every single person that walks into this building. And that will not happen. It is not our responsibility to have a manager walk and knock on all 266 doors at Hyatt or 362 doors at Bradley and introduce themselves. This is not a social service program, and I'm having a hard time trying to mesh the two. I would be very curious to see what is people's interaction with Social Security Administration, because they're not knocking on your door when you're 62 and a half. They're not calling you at 67, hey, you're eligible. There are rules and regulations and guidance that they put on their website that they have that you can read, and you can choose to apply, you can choose not to apply. They have a very simple standard that you have to adhere to. If you want those things, you can apply for them if you have the credits and you have participated in the program. And if you don't qualify, they very quickly tell you you don't qualify, and then you can go to the grievance process. And we are very similar to that structure. I don't think people quite understand that. So it makes it a challenge for us, because the comments are always different. It's always anecdotal. I mean, it's a person saying this, but at the end of the day, we have to work for the body as a whole and not a single individual. So one of the collective comments that was said when I first stepped into this chair was that the staff here did not get training. So everyone in the agency this year has the opportunity to get training on everything that we do. So if you are in HR or you are in finance and you have an interest in learning about HCV or learning about something like maintenance, then you can do it, because it's something that we are providing for the whole agency. I try to ensure that everyone has an opportunity to grow in whatever area they choose they have an interest in, as long as it's related to our business. So as it relates to specifics, people are welcome to file an Open Public Record Act, find out exactly how many people have been terminated or released, exactly how many people have been hired. I don't keep that data at my fingertips. If we provide training, I provide training for anyone who receives a paycheck, not for people based on their job title or things of that nature, especially this year because we have the extra training dollars. Again, people have the expectation or desire to see something happen, but as I wrote in my notes, this isn't going you're not gonna get it your way, you don't have a business. It's a very straightforward business. We had numerous cars when I came here, we had conversations about that fun stuff, and 95% of those cars were returned. There are a handful of people at this agency that now take cars. There's a fleet of cars that simply still do. People can use those cars if they have a business need for those cars, period. We are an independent entity from the city, from the state, from the county. We will not change our meetings to adjust to other people's needs. That's not how business is conducted. It's just that simple. Our RAD meetings have always been, since I've been here, the day before the board meeting. Look or crook, rain or shine, is the day before the board meeting. The statement when we first got here recently so was, our meetings are always held during the day so people who work don't have an opportunity to come in. So we said to adjust to that, we don't have to meet in the evening. So if you do work, you still can come in and participate. Now, on the flip side, I'm hearing publicly, we should have meetings during the day. I am not going to change our business practice to meet the needs of every single person. We try to come up with a process that allows for the most participation, not for the participation for every single person, because it's not something that you can accomplish. And it will be an administrative burden for the agency to do. We have an RFP process, request for proposals, that we go through if we are going to issue project-based vouchers, if we're going to issue contracts. It's the same process for all those things. We do not change the process for a particular person, an individual, or an entity. It's the same. Right? Our RAP properties are project-based Section 8, which is also known as Housing Choice Voucher. In HCV, you don't have resident participation because resident participation funds are for public housing units, which we've had a conversation amongst prior about the $25 per unit that per occupied unit that we get in public housing. But if you're a RAD property, I'm not getting $25 a month for public housing units because you're not public housing. The housing choice voucher. So again, the expectation is that the housing authority is going to absorb that cost. But also the expectation of the housing authority is going to fire homes. And they were going to hire new people. They were going to fire certain people. People have a lot of expectations of us. And that's okay. We're here to serve the community, not the individual, the community. And what we feel, based on the people that are here and the governing body, what best meets the needs of the community. That means so we can't sit down, as the Greeks did hundreds and thousands of years ago, and pontificate on every single item that's going to come through. We don't have a pure democracy. We vote on every single initiative. And we come back and say, do you think that you get vouchers? Because our regulator says there are certain qualifications you must have. And there are certain things that you must do to ensure that you adhere to that process. And everyone doesn't have that. But the individual that's supposed to need to do. No, we're not going to sit down and then educate every single person that's an interest in that particular subject matter area and then teach them how that's taken. That is not our. That is not what we're here to do. We're here to attempt to provide safe, sanitary, and decent housing. And we are trying to move that ball forward every day. Right? We introduced our safety director several months ago to you all. That put up at the board meeting. The reporting for those that were able to make that meeting. Again, with the always interesting. The disconnect is at the public housing. We provide the we own it. It's there for you. When you don't have to pay 2.5 times your rent, you don't have to pay a 1.5 security deposit. It's a nominal security deposit. We are your landlord. It's straightforward, right? People elect to make a Section 8 voucher. You are electing, you are making the conscious decision to take a voucher, to go on the market, to live in whatever neighborhood you want, that you find housing to at least with a private land, it's a private landlord. you are making that decision, or hopefully you are looking at the apartment, you're looking at the building, you're looking at the neighborhood, you're looking at lots before you decide to move there. And then if at some point in time, if things go left, things don't work out, you can reach out to your caseworker and go through the process of having your voucher moving, right? But all those are decisions that you make. Again, to then expect that you are going to determine that, hey, this no longer fits my needs for whatever reason, that the housing authorities, they're going to go in its pocket and give you money to then move to the next place that you want to live. Again, first thing that pops in my mind is, this is not perfect. You cannot have it your way. We have federal funds that we have to be stewards of. And that is not what we do. You have elected to work in a program that allows you to go into the market and work for private landlords. If that doesn't work for you, we have public housing. We have rapid PPD problems. And you won't have to deal with those. The unit at a Winona Litton, at a JC White, has issues, and we will transfer you to another unit in that unit. And you don't have to pay nothing. But for me to move you from the South Ward to the North Ward, yeah, there's money involved, and I don't get paid for that. But there are nonprofits in our community. But that's not what we do. That is not what the federal dollars allow us. Collectively, I am sure that our staff are doing their best to adhere to the policies, the regs, and the rules that we. And when that isn't happening, you take the appropriate disciplinary action. Sometimes that's training, because you got to make sure everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing before you say it hasn't worked. You don't have to paycheck, right? You have to give people opportunities to be able to do the job. Just like when people don't pay their rent, they want the opportunity to cure before they are terminated, before they are evicted. So it goes both ways. So from my chair, I hear from both sides. And what I'm hearing is both sides always yelling at each other, but not understanding each other. Okay? So it's always a fine needle to try to break. We sat down last night with the rec for 2 hours and went through every single question that was asked during the annual plan. Whether it had anything to do with the annual plan or not, 2 hours we sat down. Any questions that people have, we sat down. There is always an avenue by which to have your questions answered. You're not alone. If we can't address your emergency need right then, it doesn't mean you're alone. But as a 10th grade biology teacher once told me, an emergency, a lack of planning on your part does not necessitate an emergency on mine. Because you have done something that puts you in a tough pickle, it does not mean everyone else needs to drop what they're doing to help you with that pickle. We all learn. There's accountability. There's decisions that we make, and those decisions either expand the options that we have, reduce the options. Right. So staff, to my knowledge, and if I learn of something else, I will take immediate action. At no point in time, reach out to people before board meetings to convince them to not come or to not speak. That would be unethical, and I walked out doing the same thing. It just doesn't happen. Security, as you all are aware, are contractors. They aren't my employees. But again, when we have found out that security is doing something wrong, or any contractors, we immediately take action. Right. Now, the problem with that is you don't see Jorge for 3, 5, 7, 10, 12 days, and you forgot about it. Now, Jorge didn't forget because he was at home with no pay. And then you see him 2 months later, you go on, they didn't care, they still got the same people here. Well, man, sat at home for a couple weeks and then get paid. He got suspended. But you don't know that side of it. Nor are we going to post a sign that says, this person is in home. It just doesn't work like that. I don't know what we are expected to do except everything but we can't. So we are going to hone in, as I said in the very beginning, I continue to say, the basics. Making sure that we are being good stewards of the federal dollars that we receive, making sure that we are adhering to all the requirements of the programs, making sure that we are being transparent in our processes, making sure that the board is properly informed so you can make the decisions that you all need to make regarding the governance of this agency. And as our scores get better and we're able to do some of those fancy things that we only have to do research once every 2 to 3 years, once we have the ability to be a moving to work organization and we don't have the limitations on our federal dollars, then we could do some of the things that people are talking about. Then we can pay for you to move, but that's not what I get my money for. And that's not my regulators adhering to ensure that how we are accurately and properly spending. So again, we crawl, walk, run, follow. You gotta start. And we're still working through that, but we're getting things done faster and better than we were before. And for me, that's all we can do is continue to move the ball forward to make sure people are taken care of. They may not always like what they look like. See what that looks like. But I firmly believe there's not one person in this room who can say they have not had an opportunity to interface with me, executive staff, more than they had in last. That we have not been transparent and direct, whether they like the answer or not, that they had in last administration, and it's always backed up and right. So it's not that this person told me they walked out the room and now I don't. And honestly, I feel that the only thing that you can do, honest, direct, and distinct, allow adults to make the best decisions for them and their families. I give it to the commissioners.
Washington have a comment. Okay, so at the last workshop, so I've been coming about contractors with the lock and option 1. As you stated last night, we have 7,000 visitors. I think the contractors for hiring option 1, 8 Newarkers, and I believe it's 11 from option 1. They were Newarkers. That's great. Okay, we gave them the contract. We asked that they hire Newark housing residents. Out of 7,000, you could only find 1. Okay, I do understand that it was publicized and the flyers went out and you had the job fair. Okay, the job fair, it was 244 who attended. It was 146. Okay, no. That's great. But okay, what about more housing residents? Okay, but they only found 1. So my comment is this. Okay, perhaps at the next, the next time a contract comes up, or even now, maybe the tenant associations have mentioned it at the meetings, that they're looking for workers, laborers. And one of the emails, it said that they had to be trained, or they had to have qualifications. A laborer, okay, once if you do an apartment, you take out the garbage and you put it in a shopping cart and take it outside and put it inside a dumpster. You don't need a doctor's degree to do that. And are called laborers. And I'm sure that Newark housing has at least 2 or 3 people that can do that. So okay, my comment is maybe we can, get people in a different way, because, one is not enough. And I,
I just want to go back and tackle this whole issue about the conversation that Ms. Doty came with. I really understand the difference between the housing choice voucher and housing component of it, but yet and still there is a breakdown in systems, right? That even though somebody is allowed to make a choice, that there were some systems and structures that were set up or put in place to ensure that outside of everything that these individuals have to do, that there still should be some kind of customer service that's driven to help these folks. And it is true. What is happening around with all of this stuff about Section 8 and some of these landlords and the way that they're not taking care of their property, the customer service component. Our folks, and even an inspection, right? And so all of it is in our universe. Because it's in our universe, we still should have a responsibility to make sure that we do everything in our endeavor. That even if there is an individual that has a Section 8 voucher, a housing choice voucher from this location, that whoever is doing the work that is predicated from this system needs to make sure that customer service components are in place, that there are some stringent or services that are set up not to allow these individuals to be able to continue to reap the benefits of a federal dollar, right? And outside of that, to make sure that they are responsible in repair or maintenance of facilities in terms of what happens even with public housing being the landlord. Those kind of services needs to match up as well, and some kind of systems that are put in place, and may not come from your end, but if we have if it's our responsibility to put out RFPs or to look for providers that will handle this, then we need to make sure that the people that we're putting in place are doing these things, especially when it comes to inspections, right? Because at the end of the day, you can't walk into a basement and walk out and tell somebody that's an apartment, right? And the nature of a person who wants to go into a place and feel like I'll get there, and when I get there, I'll figure it out. But once they get into that position, right, now it's stuck there and trying to reach out to different vices and try to have, some kind of conversation on how to navigate out of there and can't have it. We have to have some kind of shared solution or problem solving around it. Right? So not just to be a part of something to be a problem, but the long end of it of how we manage and negotiate solutions and what it is that we do. I think that is very important because what is happening now, not just in this state, but all over this country, as we fight with this whole affordability issue and with a lot of people who are coming in and taking advantage of all of these different things. People are arguing about, the inflation and what that looks like in terms of groceries, but there's inflation in rent. There were people taking advantage of people in terms of housing and housing. And we're bringing people with lack of investigation behind it. And so we should be prudent about what it is that we do. Try to be intentional with the services of people that we have involved. Those folks don't understand that this is the kind of work that you signed up for. We should probably try to find some people that really understand it, right? Because everybody in here, when they go to the hospital, they want to make sure that there's the best doctor, the best nurse that's going to take care of them, right? At the end of the day, when they ring that buzzer, that something's going to happen. And so when folks, come here, when they ring that buzzer, they are expecting something to happen in terms of conversation, in terms of customer service, in terms of understanding structures and things that it's set up for them to get information or get help and guidance. That stuff is so important, right? because I understand what you're saying, because I'm in it every day. And the reality is real of what they're doing to individuals out there. And so we should not be in a situation where we support it, right? We should be in a situation where we want to push back against it.
I think it's great that you point that out because the contract for CGI is up for renewal. So we will take a hard look at that contract. What is the feasibility of the services we have received? Is there a better way to conduct that? To assess if we renew that contract would be to pivot in a different direction. So I will make sure, December, January, if I come back to the board, I have that conversation.
Mr. Council, an issue with people. Video. It must just, I think, put it in there. There's some law situation. City got to do the corporate city. In place because it is environment for yes. It has to be livable, even in section A. So you have some place to put in place. City, how will we put it out? Should be to limits. Still, people are saving money. So, something should be.
My concern was also concerning, requests being made for inefficiency in house windows, appliances. We extended summer session now, because we know winter is right around the corner. It's supposed to be very cold this winter. But the fact that the lines, I guess, cooperation, management, repair, is a concern. For us, there, the windows and appliances not working properly or not working at all is inhumane by living in those conditions. And so my concern is what is the, I know we have a request. Request is put in and then it's supposed to be addressed. We're getting ready to go to November. And from what the conversation was, has not been addressed. What do we do as of now to put in place that does get done so that they may.
And I may pull Ms. Motley into this one. The process is you put a work order in. We will then, if it's an emergency work order, we're going to come 24 hours to abate and address the issue. If it's a standard work, we're going to come the next 15 days to ensure that this is completed. The challenge with that becomes at this juncture is access to the unit. We work 8 to 5, so our mobile business hours at the sites. And getting access to units where residents are not supposed to change the locks. And if they do change the lock, they're supposed to try it and give us a key. So if you change the lock, can't get in unless I have them to break the lock and replace it, which I can do. Shouldn't change your lock. That's the key. Or if we're having a situation in which you are trying to break it with us from between the unit, then it becomes extended because there's work today. That's I have to work for it. But you don't want me to come in today. Okay, you're going to come back Thursday the 2nd at 2 p.m. I don't know how many work orders I'm going to have. I don't know because I couldn't get there on the 2nd. And I missed your window. And now I can't get in because you're not home or it's a bad time, things of that nature. So something small can turn into something really quickly. I think that becomes the nuance of it, because in that we end up having personalities and interpersonal communication that's not happening. You have a problem, I'm trying to solve that problem. This is the resolution. I need to get in.
So I said, I need to get in line, so it seems like it's a type of war going on, but the issue is still not being solved. That's upsetting.
Good. Got this, item.
Okay. Resolution development H 4-24-10.
We have to approve the board report.
Correct, correct. That's good. 5 years. I mean, first item is the September 2024 board report that was presented.
Prior to approving the board report, I know there was a question from the board about the movement a little bit ago in terms of how our members are looking to come out of status. I don't know if you wanted to share that, Mr. Chair, just an overview of real quickly, the work that's being done. Yes.
Based upon a question.
Yeah.
I can take the first one.
Yeah, me too, for a minute.
Sure.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
So as was provided to the commissioners, we entered into a recovery agreement a little over a month ago, with the first look back period happening at the close, no later than the close of this calendar year. So we'll find out what the scores are by 12/1 of this year. What we have done to improve this year, is you'll notice across the board, which was also provided at the last committee meeting, for the Inspire scores, which are significantly higher than they were last year. We did get our audit in time this year, so pretty challenging to get a 0 since it was in our plan. So, an improvement in our fiscal, significant improvement in financial conditions. With the putting units in modernization, undergoing modernization, which is 256, 254 units that we have vendors turning right now to make ready to house families. There are a number of other units that we've been able to take out of inventory because they no longer exist. Makes our unit count smaller. It's a math equation. So if you have less units than the units that you have that are occupied, it's going to increase your score. So we're working on our decreasing our tenant accounts receivable. Tenant accounts receivable is rent, collecting the rent. Tenant accounts receivable means that you did not receive the tenant income, their portion of the rent. So reducing that to ensure that we're collecting more rent, which then translates to occupying. Right, so that's part of the management part of the score. So we anticipate there's going to be a slight uptick in that. The rental assistance program, things of that nature, rolled out a little bit later in the year, so we're not sure exactly how much of an impact that's going to have on the overall score for 2024, but it will definitely have a significant impact on how the score looks for 2025. And the last part of that's just the capital fund, which is going to probably stay more or less the same because that's oftentimes dependent on your occupancy score. So provided which we are anticipating occupancy is going to land somewhere between 90 and 91%. Your capital score is going to look about the same, somewhere between 5 and 10, probably around 5 or 6 like it was last year. Holistically, we're anticipating the scores will be significantly better than they were last year. It's hard to say what that number is going to fall at, just because in the FOS system, the public housing sub-assessment system, we can't see what the projected score for the financial score at this time. So once we have a better idea what the projected score will be, I can then kind of go through the mathematical equation of giving you what a tentative score for the agency will be, but I can't say it won't be a 39. So it will definitely be an improvement from last year. Of course, we are shooting for at least a 60 But again, I don't want to oversell and underdeliver. So I'd rather put a pin in it so I can get you definitive information, which hopefully will come up in the next 30 days, and then circle back with the board. Again, we have our committee meetings next month, so I'm sure this will come up in each meeting. And please let me know if I didn't answer the question. No. Okay.
Alright. Move forward.
So are there any questions regarding the September 2024 board?
Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Commissioner Carter, Commissioner Council,
Yes.
Commissioner Washington,
Yes.
Commissioner Hall,
Yes.
Chairman Logan.
Yes.
Next item is the September 2024 board transcript on readiness regarding the transcript.
Motion.
Second.
Commissioner Carter, Commissioner Council,
Yes.
Commissioner Washington,
Yes.
Commissioner Hall, Chairman Logan.
Yes.
Now we move into resolutions. Redevelopment H-24-24-10-01. Resolution of the Newark House of Board of Commissioners authorized the executive director of the next meeting for appearance and application to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, public housing units in low income housing developments known as West Katy Gardens Phase 1A, West Katy Gardens Phase 1B, aka Hayes, and Stud Apartments, Section 8 project-based voucher assisted units through the rental assistance administration program to undertake associated activities necessary to complete the conversion. This was the resolution that she asked to provide you some of the background information on the status, physical conditions of the properties beforehand, which we were able to get out earlier this week. Any questions regarding
Any question?
Yeah, so after, the process over, I read all of the documentation. Does that mean that there still would have to be another managing agent that has to come in to put in an RFP to, take over the management of this? And how would that be handled, knowing that part of it will be under wrap?
the direct answer to this, it does not have to be. The housing authority proper would not be able to manage its own RAD properties. We can't have both sides of it. So there would have to be a management entity that is managing that property, whether that's done by our instrumentality or if it's done by a third party agent. I think that's a point of conversation to have as we get closer on what the capability of us to do it versus what the private parties are.
Yeah.
But that was, once again, part of the intent of the instrumentality to give us the flexibility to do some of these things. So we don't have to always have an outsider come inside the house to do everything for us.
I just wanted to let go of that, so we're aware down the line, make sure that we have a conversation about it. Especially, this product, make up of the, long-standing, care of what was happening, to make sure that we are, being guided in the right direction, that whatever's happening there, and to say, kind of making us keep what was going on before, that we have the right people in place. If it's those individuals who may be there now, they want to do it, or if it's something that we need to do different, that those vehicles and things. So, I don't have a problem with the chair. Motion to accept.
I second.
Commissioner Carter,
I approve.
Commissioner Council.
Yes.
Commissioner Washington, Commissioner Hall.
Yes.
Motion passes. H24-24-10-02, the resolution in Newark House and Board of Commissioners authorizing the execute contract with unnecessary changes with emphasis on Care Solutions Incorporated to manage the public housing authority software system and data migration and provide annual software standard support services in an amount not to exceed $300,000 for 1 year, whichever comes first.
Question? Move it.
Second.
Commissioner Carter,
Yes.
Commissioner Council.
Yes.
Commissioner Washington.
Yes.
Commissioner Logan.
Yes.
Motion approved. Resolution H24-24-10-03. Resolution of the Newark Housing Authority Board of Commissioners authorizing executive director to pay $50,525 to AMA Consulting Services for redraft and updating the administrative plan and provisions and continuing occupancy policy known as the DCOM.
Question? Move it.
Second.
Commissioner Carter,
Yes.
Commissioner Council,
Yes.
Chairman, Commissioner Washington,
Yes.
Commissioner Hawk, Chairman Logan. The resolution approved. And last one, which is a late starter for those that it looks a little funny too. Central Maintenance 24-17-10-04.
Maintenance people, always bad.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. The resolution in the Newark Housing Authority Board of Commissioners authorized the executive director to a contract to make any necessary corrections. Sherwin-Williams Company for supply and delivery of painting products, related materials in the amount not to exceed $150,000 per year for an initial term of 2 years, with the option to renew for 1 additional year at the sole discretion of the Housing Authority for an aggregate amount not to exceed $450,000 for 3 years, whichever comes first. So again, I'll take responsibility for this one. This is not a late starter. It's a late starter to you because it was sitting on my desk under papers, and I didn't see it until after you go back to your work session. So staff did everything properly. I did not. So I will take ownership for why you received. We have identified the source of funding in our operating budget. We have isolated that to ensure that the dollars are there. The dollars will be spent specifically for this item. But I also have Mr. Thomas here to answer any follow-up questions you may have.
Yes, please, Mr.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes, please speak, Mr. Is this standard pay or?
This regular is paying also the shirt. So we utilize the paint, always, and they say, just give it the staff, they wait till you'll get this car, so.
So there is an opportunity where you can mix color and match colors, so it's not just standard white, standard beige. And that's all within the same price. So if I went and said, okay, I need a white, or I need a light blue, or, a bus, it's gonna charge.
The price will change because of the extra city law, so it's going to change with the color.
Gotcha, I got it.
Yeah. We do it.
Yeah, second.
Commissioner Carter? Commissioner Council?
Yes.
Commissioner Washington?
Yes.
Commissioner Hawk?
Yeah.
Motion approved. That's the last item on the agenda.
We make a motion to adjourn.
Motion that the meeting be adjourned.
There any objection? Unanimous consent? Okay. Unanimous consent, 6:35. 6:35.